Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stinchfield. What a night it was for President Trump. The State of the Union was, I believe, President Trump's greatest speech he has ever given in his political career. And that's a tall order because this man gives some great speeches. Before we get to that, I want to talk about what nobody is talking about. And that is the attempted sabotage of President Trump's State of the Union speech. As soon as I started listening to it, his voice was overmodulated. Now, the audio crew inside the Capitol had a year to prepare for this. And they had President Trump overmodulated. I am here to tell you, there is no such thing as coincidences in Washington. There is no such thing as mistakes in Washington. This is proof to me that the deep state is very real. And the overmodulation, the peaking of President Trump, was by design to undermine his spoken word, to take away from the message he was delivering. Just listen to this.
And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in.
It is not clean audio. And the State of the Union needs to be clean audio. Now, you might say, oh, he was yelling. Not with a microphone like that. That does not happen to that level. And they should have been practicing this. Whoever was behind the audio board needs to be fired. And again, folks, I believe this was by design. It is proof to me that President Trump's enemies operates in every corner. They roam the bowels of government, looking for any opportunity they can to try to sink President Trump. Now, here's the good news. No matter what they tried, they could not overshadow President Trump's greatness last night. This was an emotional speech. It put the Democrats on notice and really on their heels. And I think more importantly, it laid out everything he's done and what he's going to do for the American people to see why President Trump is the guy for this job. Now, the moment of the night was when President Trump put the Democrats on display and their beliefs on display. How do you not stand as the safety and security of Americans is your number one priority, Democrats? Watch this.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself.
How do you not stand? For American citizens is your number one priority. This is America. Do they forget that, or do they just hate this country and its citizens so much that they refuse to stand? They are blinded by their Trump derangement syndrome. They are sick and disgusting individuals. I hate to say it. I hate to be mean, but that's what they are. Watch this.
Deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Ashamed and embarrassed. Look at Rashida Tlaib. That, folks, is the face of a whiny Karen leftist. An ugly inside and out. What class? F-ICE? That's what you wear into the United States Capitol? F-ICE? The Democrats made their own bed last night. President Trump forced them to lie in it. Again, one of the moments that I will never forget, because this story really, really affected me. And that was the murder of Irina Zarutska, that beautiful Ukrainian immigrant who was on that train in North Carolina that got slashed to death by a deranged lunatic let out of jail so many times by Democrats who care more for criminals than they do American citizens, and that woman on your screen is dead because of it. President Trump invited her mom to the State of the Union.
Mrs. Zaretsky, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina. How do you not stand? How do you not stand?
They don't stand because they're disgusting creatures. They're dirty mother scratchers. It's awful. What mother raised you? Your mother look at you, you see American citizens grieving. You see crime victims grieving, suffering. Like this family who lost a mom, hit by an illegal alien truck driver. The little girl nearly lost her life. By a miracle of God, she's alive today. Joe Biden has blood on his hands. They all do, with a D next to their name, sitting in that chamber. And they don't stand for people like this.
When a 18-wheel tractor trailer plowed into her stopped car traveling at 60 miles an hour or more, the driver was an illegal alien let in by Joe Biden and given a commercial driver's license by open borders politicians in California. Doctors said Delilah would never be able to walk or talk, have a good life. She wouldn't even be able to eat again. But against all odds, she is now in the first grade learning to walk. And she's here this evening with her dad, Marcus, a fantastic man. Delilah, please, you are a great inspiration. Please stand up.
What a beautiful little girl. Her mom's gone because of Democrat policies. Everything we're talking about here, the death of so many people because of Democrat policies, including illegal aliens that they let in here. And President Trump, with a combative tone, but also a consoling tone to people like this. I'll tell you, this speech was really about honoring those who love America. And it was also about rewarding those who fought for it. Watch this.
And 81 years ago this month, he liberated the largest internment camp in the Philippines. He is in the gallery looking forward to July 4th, 2026, his 100th birthday. And he lifted not just Billy Kate, but 164 others to safety. That I am now awarding you the Legion of Merit for extraordinary heroism, which is what it was, extraordinary heroism. Thank you. With God's help, Andrew has battled back from the edge of death. He's got a little work to do, but he's doing great. In recognition of Eric's actions above and beyond the call of duty, I would now like to ask General Jonathan Braga to present Chief Warrant Officer Slover with our nation's highest military award, the Congressional Medal of Honor.
To my Stinchfield team that put that together, amazing job. That literally sums up what President Trump is about. He loves this country. He loves the people that serve this country, and he loves all of you, Democrat or Republican. You wouldn't have seen a Democrat do any of that, giving a speech. Not like President Trump does. Not a chance. I want to bring in now longtime senior advisor to President Trump, now with the administration, director of public and private partnerships for the Department of Agriculture. Our good buddy Bruce Lavell is back. Bruce, welcome. Congratulations on your appointment to that position. I don't think I've had you on since, but it's great to see you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. What did you think of last night, Bruce?
What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of last night, Bruce? What did you think of
uplifting, breathtaking, Grant. And, I've always said this all the way from the time he came down the escalators, was that I knew he was going to be a great cheerleader for the nation, but I never thought it at this level. And when I say that respectfully, that's essentially what he's doing. And if someone doesn't cheer, if the leadership doesn't cheer for it, then who will? And the great thing about it is like, I'm hoping that it resonated, to your point, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or whoever. My God, guys. I mean, what's wrong with cheering for the nation? What's wrong with honoring our soldiers? What's wrong with honoring our public officials our public safety officials who put their life on the line to protect us? What's wrong with honoring the hockey team, for crying out loud? Oh my gosh, the gold medalists. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with calling out death and destruction on this heinous illegal immigration of this biggest invasion of the United States ever in the nation's history of God knows who's in our country, and calling it out?
You mentioned the hockey team. I'm just going to show you a moment. Who do you think's cheering here? It wasn't Democrats, but take a listen to this. So that doesn't happen at a Democrat State of the Union. It just doesn't. They don't love this country, Bruce. It's a fact.
Yeah. Let's dive deeper. Imagine, as you saw some of the elected officials in the gallery who sat there, as President Trump said, and did not want to stand. And he says, my God, why won't you stand, basically? And then he says, they're crazy. I actually tweeted that. And it's so sad that the commander-in-chief would have to call that out in 2026. But Grant and Real America viewers, watch this. What does that say about the voters in those particular congressional districts who vote these type of people in who are anti-American? What does that say?
Well,
let's go deeper.
It's interesting, Bruce. I think they're duped. Because in the end, when you look at voter ID, 80% of Americans, including Democrats, support the idea. It's only the leaders that don't. I think those people that vote those people in have been duped, but they are starting to wake up. Bruce Lavell, it is great having you on the program, as always. So proud of all your success and what you're doing for President Trump. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, God bless. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. All right, so turning now to the exact people Bruce was talking about. The leaders of the Democrat Party, they're so deranged. Many of them left. I think there was like 70 open seats, something like that. They went outside and had a People's State of the Union, whatever in the hell that means. There was not a very big crowd there, but my buddy Ben Berkwam was out there. And he caught up with Joy Reid, the failed MSNBC host, who was then the failed host of this People's State of the Union. Well, watch her and Ben.
Joy, I noticed you got rid of your Trump haircut, but you're still cultural appropriating the blonde. You're still cultural appropriating the blonde. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Is that how you talk to your mother? Hey, Trump loves you. Loves you, Joy. Trump loves you. There's it's called Mac. It's called Mac. Jesus loves you, brother. Yeah, good love you. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you. There's a cure, Joy. It's called MAGA. And this ICE. Say it together. God bless ICE. God bless ICE.
I was going to say, Ben was passive-aggressive with the Jesus loves you because that's the last thing they want to hear, right? Then he was just flat-out aggressive with the We Love ICE chants. It's fabulous stuff. I want to bring in now RAV correspondent Ben Berkwam, who's done such tremendous work. Ben, welcome to the program.
It's great to be with you, Grant. By the way, if you missed it, like everyone else did, other than watching MSDNC, they actually started with a prayer last night for this ridiculous vigil, but it's one of the same communist, godless, the synagogues of Satan, Jesus called them, pastors that comes out there. So, yeah, no, the Jesus is the last thing they want, unfortunately, but it's the first thing they need.
you know, you managed to meet some of your, what do we call them, frenemies, maybe. I don't know. They're probably really not even frenemies. I'm being nice. But let's start with
besties.
Jacob.
Besties.
Your besties. All right. You know what? Because you're besties, I'm going to go to your real bestie first. And that's Adam Schiff, the senator from California. Now, I haven't even gotten a chance to see this yet, but I told the guys to pull it. So let's roll it.
By the policies that are taking
Senator, why are so many representatives putting illegal aliens above American citizens? Senator, why do you put illegal aliens above American citizens, sir? Do you feel any shame for boycotting? Is this because your base are just petulant children that you have to follow the base? Excuse me, don't touch me, ma'am. You can't block my path. No, you can't block my path. Are you part of the propaganda media as well? Senator, shame on you for protecting illegals above American citizens.
Ben, what number encounter is that now with you and Adam Schiff?
That's five. That's five.
Is he well aware of who you are? Take me through what happens when that goes down.
Yeah, you know, he's just one of those guys. What was funny is I confronted about 10 of them last night, and I'd say about 30% of them, 3 of them, I got to actually communicate and go back and forth. Actually, Jacob Fry was more communicative than Adam Schiff, but you could see that when you get Adam Schiff, he is like a pencil-necked deer in the headlights. I mean, he just glazes over, eyes glaze over, like the computer's not working, doesn't know how to respond, no retort at all. I mean, I look at him every time I do, I'm able to confront him or try to ask him a question. I'm like, how the hell do people like this get into political office? They are so pathetic. I don't get it. I guess if you just watch ads and he never actually has to have a real question-based conversation, I guess he can get away with it, but he's just an idiot.
You know, I lost a race for Congress in 2011. Now, it was a Republican primary, but I was watching Democrats today do some news conference, and I thought, I couldn't win a race for Congress, and these people are literally there? Like, how in the world is this possible? All right, you mentioned Jacob Fry, the mayor of Fraud City, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's roll that.
Yeah, but you're protecting illegal aliens in your city at the expense of your constituents.
No, that's not true.
And you're calling on your police to obstruct.
Hang on.
You're calling on your police to obstruct
both of those
ICE
things,
operations.
No, none of the things you're saying are true.
So should ICE be protected?
Everybody should.
But do they have a right to do their job and not be obstructed by protesters, radical leftists whistling, obstructing their operations?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
We aren't talking about ICE doing normal ICE stuff.
They were until you guys started obstructing them and tried to run them over with your vehicles and blowing your whistles. I've been on 10 different ICE rides.
That's not true.
It is true. It is true.
All right, man.
Minnesota deserves better. That's Mayor Fry, everybody.
Well, I've watched you on those 10 different ICE rides, and you are telling the truth because I've seen it on video. Ben, I give you the last word. What do you say?
Yeah, the reason Renee Good's dead and the reason Alex Preddy are dead is partly due to people like Jacob Fry who incite people to go out and act like this. I started riding with ICE at the beginning. They were going out doing their operations. It wasn't until the activist left started coming out and obstructing that you saw all of this action start happening. Just let ICE do their job. It's very simple.
Yeah. Ben, you did great work last night. The whole team did. Rav put on one hell of a show last night, if I don't say so myself, taking part in it as well. But great work. And to show you how hard Ben works, look, he was in D.C. and now he's in beautiful. Where are you? Is that Arizona?
Yeah, Phoenix. I'm in Phoenix. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we're going to have some fun stuff.
All right, my man. I'm going to give people a little teaser here. Don't forget, an all-new episode of Law & Border airs this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on RAV. All right, nationwide testing shows that high levels of harmful contaminants and dangerous chemicals are in our drinking water across every state. Installing a whole house water filtration system is a great way to be proactive and protect your family from these harmful cancer-causing chemicals. Freedom Whole House Water Systems, made right here in America, is the world's best whole house water filtration system. Maintenance-free means no salt to add, no filters to change, ever. Just clean, alkaline water from every faucet in your house. Go to freedomwatersystems.com and put in promo code SKIP26 to get $1,000 off your Freedom Whole House Water Filtration System. SKIP26. It's an interesting one for the show, but that's the code. All right, moving it on. Is it time we end drug cartels once and for all? Talk about it.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
I'm Patriot Mermaid, and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. When the mainstream media wasn't giving us the truth, I went and looked for the truth and found it on Real America's Voice. Come and join us. Come on.
My name is T.J. Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or editing.
I'm Terry from New Jersey, and I just want to say that I love Real America's Voice. I love you guys. Keep up the good work.
Look, Mexico is, quite frankly, in a real world of hurt right now. The reason it's in a real world of hurt is because the cartels are struggling. Now, I'm going to tell you that I believe a war against the cartels is probably the most needed war America may have. What do I mean by this? Cartel members are actively killing American citizens by moving drugs into this country. They are teaming with China, as I've mentioned before, to move drugs, fentanyl, and other things into this country. The threat to American citizens from the cartel poses a clear and present danger, immediate danger to the citizens of the United States of America. And so with that, when I look at everything going on, I have no problems with Trump activating the military against cartel members in Mexico. Now, this is Free Press reporter Dan Dix walking around Puerto Vallarta telling us everything's back to normal. Watch this.
Life seems to be back to normal. Cars are back on the road. Taxi drivers are back in business. Uber drivers are back in business. The airport is now running again.
So I actually believe here's what unfolded. Now, remember, I go to Mexico a lot. I've been in all of these areas. I've been to Puerto Vallarta probably, I don't know, a dozen times at least. This was a one-day event. The mainstream media gets a hold of it, and they blow it out of proportion. Not one American citizen was killed. Now, this doesn't take away from my idea that you need to go after the cartels, because the cartels aren't killing American citizens in Mexico. They're killing American citizens here in the United States. That's why they need to be taken out. Now, this is Lily Tellez. She's an outspoken senator. She was on Fox and Friends over the weekend. Listen to her, cut 2.
Are you afraid for your life?
Yes, I am afraid, and the president has threatened me to proceed against me with criminal prosecution to get me out of the Senate and get me in jail just because I told you in this space and Fox News what is the reality of our country with the cartels. The cartels are dominating everything here in Mexico.
All right. So what would this look like if the United States got the green light from President Sheinbaum, who I believe is on the take from the cartels, to go in and actually take them out? I do believe it would get ugly. This is not an easy war to fight. They are dug in. They are a paramilitary organization, if just not a flat-out military organization. And I want to bring in now a good friend of this program, former Green Beret and now host of Speak the Truth podcast. Matt Tardio is with us. Matt, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Grant.
All right, Matt, easily if this was to happen, President Trump could turn to Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Delta Force, all of the above, to go in and take part in an effort to eradicate these cartels. Could that happen, and what does that look like, Matt?
Could that happen? First, we need the Mexican president to actually agree to allow that to happen. She has just flat out refused to allow it to actually happen. You know, we've been training down in Mexico, Mexican forces for quite some time now and working side by side with them. But there's a big difference between doing that and, you know, advise and assist operations on the ground, moving side by side with our Mexican partner force, going through and clearing out these cartels. It'd be a lot easier for the United States to fight this war than it would, say, overseas, just due to logistics, right? Like you could actually have guys and gals that are home for dinner at night, theoretically speaking, situation dependent. But, you know, my issue is kind of with the framing of the cartels and how big of a threat they really are to the United States of America. I don't just think that it's, you know, a threat when we start talking about the drugs coming across the border. I think it's a threat because, you know, a lot of people, when we look at terror organizations, we think of sleeper cells here in the United States. And, you know, most people over the last, 2 decades are thinking about jihadis and everything else. But all of these different cartel organizations in every major city, you might as well look at them as a sleeper cell. And what ended up happening in Mexico on Sunday was you had hundreds of roadblocks get thrown up, 25 National Guard members get killed, over 60 killed down in Jalisco, where all of this ended up going down at, right? And that's a big distance away from Puerto Vallarta, right? You know, cartels got a good interest in keeping that area open for tourism because they make a lot of money off selling drugs up there, right? Prostitution, human trafficking, everything else. So long story short, I think if the U.S. decided to go in there and we were actually working side by side with, a Mexican partner force to go over and take out the cartels, we would see a lot of what took place on Sunday over in Mexico, I do believe, happening here in the United States of America. I don't think it would be nearly as significant, but the cartel is in the United States. They are armed with firearms. So I'd be worried about, terror attacks here at home as well.
All right. So it would have to be then in conjunction with Mexican military, correct? You couldn't have special forces going in like we did in Venezuela, just go in there and raid the place with nobody knowing. Or could we? Could we have under the cover of darkness that we have special forces go in and start taking these out without working side by side with the Mexicans?
Yeah, I mean, do we have that capability? Absolutely, we have that capability, right? But you end up, having a huge risk that you end up taking on when you do that, which is, worried about the political side of the house. We need the Mexicans on our side just as much as they need us when it comes down to fighting these cartels. Our border, Trump said during the State of the Union address last night that there was 0 illegals that ended up crossing the U.S. border over the last year. I don't believe that necessarily to be true because I've got plenty of videos of them crossing the United States border. A couple of weeks ago, ended up having what appeared to be uniformed military personnel over in, California, outside of San Diego, crossing into the United States of America and actually shaking door handles. That's actually being investigated by DHS right now. They're refusing to comment on it, even though we ended up reaching out to them. And so right now we're just kind of like sitting and waiting. But do we have the ability to do that? Absolutely. But we also need them kind of on our side a little bit. Targeted airstrikes, things of that nature, taking out key leaders. Sure, we could do that from the air. We could launch our Preds from home, our Predator drones from home, and take them out that way as well,
How ugly could it get? I mean, I don't think it's as easy as, I know that we're way better trained than they are, right? But they have some pretty technical equipment. They put a lot of money into this. Basically, a military is what the cartels have. You're going into places that would look like urban warfare, I would imagine. It could get ugly, could it not?
It could get extremely ugly at home and abroad. Absolutely. It could get extremely ugly with the amount that they have. And, they also have support from Hezbollah. They work side by side with Hezbollah, IRGC, several other foreign terror organizations as well. And they were, interlinked with Maduro. And that was kind of one of our big problems with Maduro was him providing diplomatic passports to these different terror organizations to be able to fly into the United States and fly into Mexico and continue to link up with the cartels over in Mexico and then, transfer money back over into Colombia and work with those cartels over there. So you're talking about a lot of international support. And these guys have belt-fed weapons. They have surface-to-air missiles, RPGs. I mean, they have, armored vehicles that would rival an APC that they end up building, an armored personnel carrier that they take out on the streets over there. I mean, they are absolutely a force to be reckoned with, in my opinion, just by the sheer size and the amount of arms that these folks actually have access to.
Well, it's amazing stuff. We'll watch it unfold. It's going to be tough to get the cooperation from this president in Mexico, Scheinbaum. But, boy, President Trump has a lot of screws he could put to her, especially with the economy, trade, tariffs, you name it, that he could basically force her cooperation, I would imagine, if he really wanted to. Last word, Matt.
Yeah, that needs to happen. While we're talking about Iran, while we're talking about Venezuela, honestly, the largest threat that I see to United States national security is the cartels in Mexico. And I do believe that we need to put the screws to her and we need to get our forces in there and start kicking butt and taking names.
I'm right there with you. Matt Tardio, thank you for your service to America. And thanks for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me again, Grant.
Absolutely. At AngerTab is where you can find him on X. And he's a good guy. All right. Hey, I want to make mention of this. You want to know a little inside scoop? I forgot to tell you about it last block. This was big for me during President Trump's State of the Union. Because since 2011, I had been making it my mission to get the Stock Act passed that would ultimately ban members of Congress from trading stocks altogether. Well, President Trump basically called all of Congress out for this. Now, including Nancy Pelosi. All the way back to 2011, I was calling out Nancy Pelosi. A few years ago, I started a mission called Give It Back Nancy. I got over 1 million signatures urging Nancy Pelosi to give back her gains. Do you know in 2024, she made 70% on her portfolio? She is now worth close to $450 million. It's phenomenal. This is President Trump.
Let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information. They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she's here?
Well, Nancy said she did. Now, I did a little research. Do you know last year, Nancy Pelosi did triple the returns of the S&P 500, okay? As I mentioned, about 70% on her returns. She bought call options on a company called Tempest AI right before a $200 million deal was inked with AstraZeneca. Like I said, there's no coincidences in Washington. She doubles her money on that play. Here's Nancy Pelosi last night being asked about all this.
I say back to him, as that's what members said, look at your own self. The inference he wants to draw is there was something wrong with that, which there wasn't. And if there was, people get prosecuted for it. For a long time now, we've been trying to pass this law.
She has never wanted it passed. She's making millions upon millions, trading off of inside knowledge. Here's a little more.
Elizabeth Warren stood up and applauded. Elizabeth Warren stood and applauded tonight when the president talked about it.
Well, we all did. I did too. He said, did Nancy stand up? Yeah, I did too. A lot of people stood up. A lot of Democrats stood up. I think that will pass, depending on what the bill is.
You know what we're going to do? Body language this week. Guys behind the glass, mark it down, because that doesn't look good to me. And Elizabeth Warren standing and clapping. Oh, yeah, the big one that pushes back against the millionaires and billionaires. Do you know what Elizabeth Warren is worth? And I think this is a low estimate. $7 million. Now, nothing compared to Nancy Pelosi's. But $7 million. How much do you think the average American is worth? The median net worth, of someone retiring in America is $410,000. $410,000. The average is about 1.8 million, but they're including people like Nancy Pelosi in that. That's why the median's a better take. But Elizabeth Warren's worth $7 million. How did she make that money? Not through smarts. We'll keep following that one for you. All right, Big Railroad is looking to get even bigger. And it's a problem that could derail President Trump's economic vision. That is next.
When it's breaking, we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel locked in.
Go Pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel. Clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit gopills.com. Use code RealAmerica for 15% off.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer, in the moments I'm afraid. There's a whisper in the wind, and a story in the sky, when I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience.
Welcome back, everyone. I want to talk about a story that really nobody in mainstream television is talking about. Certainly not many people in conservative media are talking about it. I'm here to tell you that this merger that is being proposed between these massive railroads, Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern, could derail President Trump's agenda to bring the cost of everything down. This would be a massive merger to create a transcontinental railroad that would put basically half of freight shipping via railroad in the hands of one company. Now, you tell me how that's a good idea for competition. It is not. And I would urge conservative lawmakers out there, heck, any lawmaker. You realize you have Raphael Warnock and Dick Durbin siding with guys like Tim Sheehy of Montana to push back against this. When you get guys with those both sides siding that this is bad, you have to take notice. This is J.D. Vance with a warning about deals like this.
And let me give you one example. I really worry about concentration in the corporate sector. I worry about big corporate monopolies. I worry that when you have only 1 or 2 companies dominating an entire sector, it's bad for liberty and it's bad for prosperity.
All right, that's common sense. What gets shipped by rail, by the way? How about everything? Lumber you build your house with, coal to generate power for all these AI plants, not to mention your home. You have chemicals used in almost everything. This would be not good. Let's just say that. I want to bring in now to discuss this. Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen is with us. He is one of 6 attorneys general, I believe, that have filed suit to stop this. Attorney General, it's great to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me, Grant. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate having you on the program. What is your concern, sir, with this merger?
Well, the concern is the law, right? We've seen these before. There's nothing new about big railroads trying to get bigger. In fact, we had a big one of these in the mid-'90s, if people remember, and it was a fiasco. It caused huge problems, huge disruptions. Freight sat, there was mass confusion, major supply chain problems. As a result of that, the Surface Transportation Board, the federal Congress, passed some new rules and said that any of these mergers, these big railroad mergers, had to enhance competition. They can't prove that this one's going to enhance competition. It's going to be good for their bottom line. Certainly that's true. Yeah. But it's not going to enhance competition, and that's the key language that has to be satisfied here, and they haven't shown it.
You know, look, a basic principle of free markets is competition. I don't know how anyone could make an argument that decreasing down the amount of railroad companies to compete for business would be a good thing. How do you even make the argument that it could be good for competition? I don't think you can, General.
I don't think they can either. We've gone from a number of railroads, so it just keeps getting a smaller and smaller and smaller number. But this one's going to result in a real monopoly. I mean, we don't like monopolies in America. We've got laws in place to make sure that you can't monopolize a sector of the economy, that you can't hold people hostage, that you can't gouge people for pricing. And unfortunately, that's what's going to happen here if this is allowed to go through. So this is about protecting against a monopoly. This is about making sure that our supply lines are secure and that customers are not gouged here as a result.
Let me play a clip from you. This is now, I believe, a former board member of the Surface Transportation Board, the group that would make a decision on this. His name's Robert Primus. He's gone from the board. Take a listen, though, of what he warned of.
And my record has reflected in my vote against the CPKC merger that I'm very concerned with further consolidation and what that does to competition, how that affects shippers, how that affects rates, how it affects the overall public in terms of passing along those increased rates into consumer products and people paying more for those products overall.
So, General, basically reiterating a lot of what you said there. Now, you're in Montana. A lot of people don't know this. My first job in TV was in Missoula, Montana, and I remember waiting for freight trains, sometimes 45 minutes for them to go by. They were so long, but they are instrumental to the economy in many of these western states, not just Montana, and farmers too. Do you think this will have an effect on them and their ability to get crops to market?
Grant, that's a huge one for me. I'm a farm and ranch kid, literally. I grew up in northeastern Montana, very rural area, but one of the big railroads' main line literally cuts my family's property in half. I speak railroad. I know what this means. Railroads are vitally important for agriculture. We can't get our wheat, our beef, our barley, we can't get any of our crops out of Montana in any real scale without railroad. And when you're held hostage now by what's going to be one of the 50% market share of the entire U.S. railroad sector, that's scary to a guy like me. That's a monopoly. I mean, when their profits don't go the way they say they're going to, which is very likely, right? History is a good indicator. They're going to raise rates. That is what happens in these cases over and over and over. And we have to be cognizant of that. So, yeah, vitally important to agriculture.
Last question, maybe just you can give some backup to my Republican friends in Congress. It seems to be bipartisan support to stop this merger from going through, but there's some bipartisan action to support this merger from going through. So giving cover to some of the Republicans out there, what do you say to them?
I think this is really easy. Look at the law, right? I'm a lawyer. I'm ultimately in charge of enforcing the law. This is a simple one. The law requires that it has to enhance competition. This has to be a net benefit to the public. Their first application, they couldn't even get there, and the Surface Transportation Board rightly rejected it because they just kind of ignored that part and hoped it would go. So to me, for all my Republican friends out there, my colleagues in Congress, this is easy. Just follow the law. They haven't done it here.
Look, I'll back you up, General. The law is clear. It literally says it must enhance competition, and it's written just like that. So if they consider themselves rule of law guys, this one should be pretty simple. General, I appreciate you coming on the program. I appreciate the work you're doing in Montana. Literally one of my all-time favorite states. It is one of the most beautiful places on earth, and I appreciate you coming on the program.
Thanks for having me on, Grant. Come back anytime.
Absolutely. I hope to have you back real soon. And I mean it too, folks. Montana was gorgeous. If I ever had a daughter, everybody knows I have a son. His name's Wyatt. If I ever was going to have a daughter, I was going to name her Montana because of how beautiful the state was. But then I was like, it sounds like a stripper name. So I don't think so. Back on this, though, couldn't be more important. I made my commitment to back up President Trump and his agenda and his quest to make America affordable again. And this would not do that. This would hurt President Trump in a big way, and it would hurt the American people in a big way. So I hope everyone takes a real hard look at this merger because it is not something that should go through between Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern. All right, folks. Up next, J.D. Vance and Dr. Oz have made their first move on eliminating fraud in the United States. That's next.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel locked in.
Go Pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel. Clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit gopills.com. Use code RealAmerica for 15% off.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience.
Welcome back, everyone. So President Trump is doing to J.D. Vance, his vice president, what he did to Marco Rubio. He's given him tons of jobs. These 2 guys can handle it, if anybody can. Here's the president.
So tonight, although started 4 months ago, I am officially announcing the war on fraud to be led by our great Vice President J.D. Vance.
All right. So less than what? 12 hours since being announced the new fraud czar, along with his duties as vice president, him and Dr. Oz get together.
Providers on the ground in Minnesota have actually already been paid. The state has paid those providers the money. What we're doing is we are stopping the federal payments that will go to the state government until the state government takes its obligations seriously to stop the fraud that's being perpetrated against the American taxpayer.
$260 million they are holding back from the state of Minnesota. Good. They ought to be better stewards of our money, and they're not. So I'm glad we got this fraud task force. It's a shame this has to come out of the White House, by the way. We shouldn't be having to do this. There should be other areas in play that work to stop this fraud from happening. Speaking of a place ripe with fraud, New York City is ripe with fraud. Have you heard about what's going on? Not just the snowstorm. By the way, poor New York. My parents are in Westchester County. They got like 3 feet of snow on the ground. They said it's literally like nothing they've ever seen before. Well, Mom Donnie wanted people to shovel the snow. She says, New Yorkers, you can be hired. But apparently you have to show ID to get a job. And only get paid $19, by the way, an hour when he was pitching a $30 minimum wage. What a hypocrite. Here's Mom Donnie. Oh, excuse me. This is Trump calling out Mom Donnie.
And even the new communist mayor of New York City, I think he's a nice guy, actually. Speak to him a lot. Bad policy, but nice guy. Just said they want people to shovel snow. They got hit hard. Wants them to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a Social Security card.
All right, so more hypocrisy. And then, did you see what's happening in New York? Police officers are being pelted. They say snowballs. Some of these things look like ice balls. Take a look at the video here. Do we have, what's the best one you got there? Put the best video of the snowball fights up. Watch this. So they're literally being pelted. Mamdani says it's a snowball fight. That doesn't look like a snowball fight to me. Police are running from it. There's another section in Central Park, I believe. We have the other video too, where they're running and they're being literally tracked by a pack of people. Look at that. Now, you think that's a snowball fight? Well, listen to Zohran Mamdani, cut 3.
I've said that what I saw was a snowball fight. It should be treated accordingly. It was one that got out of hand, but that's what it was. Thank you. I'm not going to be banning snowball fights or organized snowball fights.
How about I'm not asking you to ban snowball fights? But a fight is between two sides. If the police are not taking part in it and you're throwing snowballs at police that I actually believe probably are ice balls, and who knows what's happening as the crowd gets ginned up, that should not be allowed. But those cops aren't going to do anything about it because they don't have the backing of brass in New York or the mayor's office. They'd be arrested for arresting the people throwing stuff at them. Shame what's happening in New York. It really is. All right, up next, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen puts kooky Bernie Sanders in his place. That's next.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news. Breaking news. News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel locked in.
Go Pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel. Clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit GoPills.com. Use code RealAmerica for 15% off.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to